ones in this time of their return walks to the sacred center of themselves, seeking their essence, are already aware of the need to break free from spiritual and emotional ties that still keeps them tied to the mind traps. You are already tired of this long journey in search of love at your heart's desire, the light that will definitely brighten your journey, giving meaning to their lives and understanding of their own spirituality. This fatigue is justified. His walk not started here. It was much longer. She started at the very moment that dipped for the first time to embody on this planet, designed to be heaven, but rather set out to be a school of expiation and suffering for the soul still in its evolutionary beginnings. Here they came and mingled souls of various consciousness and universal civilizations. Most the need to change and acceptance of love as the only divine truth capable of promoting individual happiness and peace and collective throughout cosmos. Others, like many of you, who are reading these words, came to help in this process, serving with teachers, instructors and anchor light on Gaia. However, since being here, they had to be subject to the laws of the planet and have forgotten who they are and return path home. But there, deep in your unconscious, scattered memories, the feeling of discomfort, homesickness, lack, always pushed toward the light. And even unconscious, fulfilled their sole purpose. Time advancing light, sometimes deviating from the path up and down the dimensional steps in order to polish themselves, as they helped their brothers incarnate. It was painful, difficult and tiring. Often they dropped. Often they succumbed. Still, after each embodied experience, the love they bring in their hearts always made them return to their highest goals. And how much effort it required of their beings. And even now, on the threshold of his full awakening, there are still so many strings attached to feel definitely released. There are still fears, confusions, misunderstandings and egos in their minds. They do not let you awesome the flight to give the quantum leap and ascend. And you are tired, many tired, feeling walking in circles without getting anywhere. And indeed, you have been doing this circular path, always treading the same steps that you own left marked in its evolutionary road. And every passage discover new facets, new landscapes, new information to aggregate their AKASHIC memories because all of them to refer to their essences, the awareness of what really are multidimensional unit. Now came the big time to take the eyes off the road, you already know by heart, to observe the landscape, to intrigger in the way that made it this far, accepting as they are one with the all, but still unable to be this unity and exercise mastery as it was conceived by the Creator and by their higher selves. Here, at this point of spiritual marathon, the forces begin to deplete. You can already glimpse the light at the end of the tunnel, but this is where the path becomes harder, narrower, because you have traveled deep within themselves. They took all more apparent barriers, but there is still enough darkness to fall into traps, stumble and arrest the quagmires of memories, learnings and mistaken beliefs, so ingrained in themselves that seem to be part of what they are. And they do. You begin to realize that are all created in duality, where good and evil notions of light and dark, male and female, good and bad, right and wrong, conscious and unconscious mind and heart, divine and profane, are you. They are their energies, beloved, their intentions, their dreams and aspirations, fears and desires that created this reality. And nothing exists outside that there is in it themselves. All that express and experience is created, maintained and powered by you. And it is this consciousness, already manifest, that make you feel sad, depressed and still separated from the higher dimensions of themselves. It is here, at the moment of his awakening, when we are at the end of the course, exhausted themselves, that we, the members of the celestial hierarchies, especially the united archangelical hierarchy, which I represent in this text, come to his rescue, bringing them renewed energy that expand their disposal and awareness, to resume his breath and regain the strength to move on. The Creator releases these extra energy for the sole purpose of making it easier and less comprehensive that finish line. It is a demonstration of unconditional love that awaits them when they crossed the dimensional limits that keep them stuck in this stifling and limiting way. The faces of the Source, the angels, archangels, masters and highly evolved light brothers of the whole universe, present in every corner, providing the energy needed for that exact route of the passage where they are. Think of these energies as tools and energy that will facilitate the crossing, time offering them a flashlight, time a sledgehammer to break the stones that lock the passage, time a rope to get out of the quagmire, time scissors to cut the webs that bind them, time a nutritional supplement for longer and steep paths, time for a glass of water to refresh them, time for a cozy lap when they are discouraged and tired, time a remedy to heal the bruises and wounds accumulated throughout this process. To take advantage of this offer of unconditional love, which are in the form of beings, rays and energies, you only need to stop a moment, breathe and look at the scenery. See what's around you, watch carefully and use your own light to illuminate, even if it is still like the flame of a candle, the place where they are. The strategic stop will make them realize themselves, how they are behaving, how they are feeling. It's time to ask yourself if you have ever been in this place before and how they reacted. There will be time to change the reaction, what you recognize and what is new. As your intuition motivates and guides, what are the pitfalls? What's in here that you have not realized? Notice, reassure your mind and allow your own internal responses guide them. With these insights, you can then trigger the most appropriate energy to assist them at this time. It's time to ask for and give permission, expressed, so that we can really succor them in their needs. So far you triggered this help almost unconsciously. Your higher self, always attentive to its multiple dimensional manifestations, acted in silence in this regard. But from the moment that your memories of your cosmic origins as celestial or galactic beings begin to return to their spiritual awareness, you place yourself in a position to recover their mastery. When this occurs, there is a reversal in the role of the creator and the creature. The divine help of your guardian angels, that was always present, even if not recognized, shall need to be asked and allowed. The creature, or if you prefer to identify themselves as this embodied self multidimensional, recognized as personality or character, takes the creator role, taking on all the responsibility of self to know how divine essence, conscious of his free will and all the reflections of yourself in this plan and the multiple realities created from your thoughts forms. No longer the self that leads the way is your lower self that must go to meet the higher self, which has always been within himself, and show it in all its expressions. It is the union of the human and the divine even in physical, embodied and conscious existence. At this point, you already recognize as a source of parts, multidimensional selves possessors of divine gifts, that experience in a human essence. It's time to accept and love everything they have created and to make choices. Releasing, cleaning the internal address where the being dwells. It is time to reclaim his virtues, to unite in polarities of balance to be able to move dimensionally. But all, beloved, you must come from you. We are, as we have always been, with just one thought. But the low frequency vibration where you were not allowed them to design this connection. Separation beliefs, existential loneliness and tax fears and implanted in their genetic memories, prevented them from realizing our presence and our energies. Now that you have advanced enough in the return path to the internal home to their hearts, opening to the laws of love and wisdom of light, you begin to become aware of our presence and allowed re-established communication with us. We are in frequency and higher Sutlazada vibration. As you are predisposed to do your cleaning and internal releases, the more space you open to get directions coming from more evolved spirits and their own consciences, which can better absorb the necessary understanding of their incarnate experiences in search of truth spiritual, the veil's density kept hidden. The more you leave the duality of illusions created this three-dimensional world, the finer become these veils and the more apt you are to recover not only his personal mastery, but the whole connection and knowledge of the truth that is in the one consciousness, about who really they are, and who we really are, that they were deliberately concealed in order to motivate them to keep the experience so necessary to this learning model of the spirit in its return path to the source. It is with these explanations that leave you to reflect. I am Archangel Mitzrael and bring them wisdom of energy, liberation and joy. I offer them the manifestation of heaven on earth and put me as his companion until the end of this road, where we will meet face to face, in a warm and nostalgic embrace of father to son and brother to brother.